Welcome to the Funny Mix.
Wait, was that Terminator music?
It was a royalty-free version, similar to a Terminator movie.
Yeah, it sounded like the Terminator scene, like when you see the playground burning or
Yes.
something like that.
I was after we talked last night. I started to think I was like, oh, I should work on a new intro video. Since we can have longer videos, I'm kind of having a little fun with this. You know, I started with the crawl ones, and then I started thinking, I was like, oh, you mentioned like the dumpster fire of 2020, and I was like, I couldn't find a good dumpster fire video, so I found this one. It was a royalty-free video as well that I could use, and so I kind of created that fun little intro. I'm having some fun with this. I think it's a lot of interesting, and I haven't done an outro video yet. Change. It's still our standard one, but eventually I'll work on something new there. So, and good morning, Kevin Meinert.
Woo! Kevin's in the house.
We have some great news. The Wretched Realms All But One cover is in. I saw.
Yep. Yeah, we got those came in just as a refresher. This is the artist proof that came in. I have this in the office. The other ones are at home. So excited. The covers are looking great. The interiors are looking great. Our printing company is Ready Comics, based out of Phoenix, Arizona. They do a phenomenal job. Packaged wonderfully. They take such care in packaging these products. They know that the collectors love these to be in great condition, and they do a great job packing them. Even with, I got to watch on the blink as the delivery guy roughly slammed the boxes down on the ground, and to my pleasant surprise, everything was fine on the inside. But it's 2020. Everything is crazy. So I get notice that this is coming. It's a shipment of 3 boxes, and it turns out it was going to be delivered yesterday, but I wasn't going to be home. I had appointments for real estate. Mm-hmm. So it gives an option to redirect the order to be picked up at a UPS center. So I'm like, okay, I'll do that since I won't be home till late in the day, just in case the weather got bad or whatever.
Right.
So I don't want comic books sitting out in the rain if that happened. Yeah. So I redirect it. To my surprise, on my Blink home camera system, I get a notice. I look, they're delivering the boxes. I'm like, oh, I guess they didn't redirect. Well, it turns out they rejected 1 box. The other 2 still arrived. So now today I got to go pick up the one. It's
yeah, I've tried to do that a couple times, and I think it's just, they have those options, but their systems just don't catch up to each other, and
right,
and notifications and stuff like that. So,
and I thought I had to sign for the package, but they just left them and walked away. So I don't know.
That's kind of this year. It's even with doing shipped. It's I don't really see anybody. I see some people once in a while, but I mean, everything is just leave it on the porch. And the only time I have to see somebody is I have to scan their ID. And a lot of times they'll even set it outside. And while Shipped wants us to actually have them start signing again, I'm like, no, you're not touching my phone. So I never liked that in the first place anyways, even pre-COVID.
So I've also, with Wretched Realms, part of the rewards for orders of $40 or more, I am doing free sketches, a little 4x6 inch sketches. So I've been having fun because I was doing some character cards and cards for death, and these are all black and white marker and ink. But then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start adding like real Wild West people. So we got Blackjack Ketchum. Somebody's going to get. Right. He's notorious he was a train robber, and when they hung him, they weren't experienced at hanging in that town. And they used a rope that was too long, which he had too much momentum in the hanging process, so he decapitated. Yes. We got Billy the Kid here. Mm-hmm. Then we got the outlaw Jesse James. We got Wyatt Earp. And then his buddy Doc Holliday. This was a picture that is believed to be him in his final days. Surprisingly, he was in his mid-30s, but he looked to be like 95 years old. So,
well, he'd been sick for a very long time at that point. For since his 20s, became a dentist and got sick not too long after he started dentistry, and that's when he started heading west and became a notorious gambler.
Yep. Yeah, so I've been having fun drawing real life outlaws and lawmen of the Wild West to include in my free sketches to people. So that's been fun. So I think I only got about I think I have 5 sketches left for the rewards. So I'm going to start packaging up the rewards that are the simple rewards that don't need extra signatures other than mine. And then hopefully in the very near future, I'll be able to get a trip to Indiana to see Kevin and hopefully Brett. And then we'll do that. And then I'll get those final rewards out that have Kevin's signatures on them as well.
Excellent. Yep, we'll figure that out and get that done here soon.
Also, if you back the project, I sent out an update today, and you have 48 hours to do if you have an update to your address, the mailing address for your rewards. Look for an email giving you the chance to update your address if you need to. So you have 48 hours.
Very cool. Well, we got a fun show today, but we need to knock out some business as usual.
Business.
Yep. So let me go ahead and get me back on the stream so you can see me. So the Oasis is waiting for us, as Kevin says. Yes.
The Oasis.
We'll have some fun again and play some more 5 Crown.
Yes. Yeah. Well, maybe Jill can come this time. She's all hooked on 5 Crown.
That'd be great. That'd be great. Nice big group. But starting off with our sponsors, we got Larger Family Chiropractic Center PC, where your journey to wellness begins here. You can build a healthy lifestyle with chiropractic care. And they do take great pride in providing the finest chiropractic care to each and every patient, offering on-site digital x-rays, massage therapy, orthotics by foot levers, young living essential oils, aromatherapy, full line of vitamins, all in a family-oriented environment. You can call 734-697-4244. Visit online at largerfamilychiropractic.com. We do have a link for you at oddmusings.com. That is their Facebook page here, and you see Dr. Anna, Dr. Brian there, who I just learned is going to have a very momentous birthday next month. He'll be turning 60 in that. So, but they've got, I think he is 2nd generation, and then Dr. Corinne's 3rd. His sister works there as a chiropractor, so it's a family affair there. Here's a list of all the different doctors: Dr. Tyler, Dr. Corinne, Dr. Lisa, and of course Dr. Brian and Dr. Anna. So definitely check them out. Give them a call if you have questions. They are located in Belleville, Michigan and Dexter, Michigan. And then we also have
Team Titans of Real Estate. Why? Because you matter. We utilize the latest in tools and technology to maximize your home buying experience. But at the core, we always remember it's a people business, and we like to make it that way. So give us a call. We're entering in a new year. Typically, this week is slow as people are, enjoying family or traveling or whatever between Christmas and New Year's. But we actually had a very busy week. We put in an offer for a client of ours last night. We'll find out if it got accepted later on today. We have a new listing about to come out. So we got all the paperwork signed yesterday and working with some other clients, helping them get pre-approvals. I did a video recently, 2021. Prices are expected to go up about 5.7% on average over the year. Interest rates are also expected to go up. So what does that mean for you? If you are looking to buy a house, waiting is not your friend, because between the current value of money the prices going up plus interest rates going up, you're going to afford less and less house in today's dollars. So, you're going to want to get jumping on that track if you can. So give us a call. 586-549-6096 is my number. Jill Webler, 586-277-2145. And we'd love to consult with you, give you strategies on how to time the purchase and sale of your home, and what tools are out there, like bridge loans, that you can use to meet your goals and maximize your dollars.
Excellent. Yeah, there's a lot of things going on in real estate. I see just around the area here in the Ann Arbor and Belleville area. And
this last year, for instance, in 2020, they were projecting a 6% increase in the median home prices. They went up 8.8%, and that was through November. We haven't even got December numbers yet. So it might even be into the 9%. So even with lockdowns and the craziness of COVID, prices have been skyrocketing. Reason, we have more and more buyers entering the market as millennials and even Gen Z now are coming of age to buy houses. That's giving us more and more potential buyers, but the number of houses for sale keeps dropping because more and more people are refinancing and staying in their home. So that's creating a supply and demand scenario that prices keep going up. So that's where we're at. We outperformed the market by, it was 8.8. So 2.8% we outperformed in 2020. So if we keep on that track, you could see prices go up 8 or 9% over in the next year. Mm-hmm. And if that happens, if you're looking at a $250,000 house, let's see, 8%, that's $20,000. So if you can afford a $250,000 house today, and you wait a year, that means you're going to have to buy what's currently a $230,000 house to buy it, because the prices are going to keep going up, and your pay, unless you expect your pay to go up 9%, which most of us won't.
No, and in fact, a lot of people, their pay are not going up; they're staying about the same. But sometimes, though, I think what we're seeing, though, this is from my perspective, not in real estate, but just driving around doing deliveries and as a personal shopper. One, I am seeing a lot of homes that go for sale, and then next time I go by, they have a sold sign on them, so they're selling fast. But I think the other thing is, with people staying home, they've actually increased their available monies because they're not spending certain monies traveling for work, right. Things like that. I've seen people say, oh yeah, I'm spending more on food, but then they're also saying, but we're renovating this, we're doing that. So definitely there is an availability of money available. And that's why I think we saw this change this year, in spite of the pandemic and the government's restrictions on so many different things. We've seen a lot of different changes there. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens this next year, as hopefully we start opening up more. I know we're still kind of behind the opening. We got a few things open last week, movie theaters, bowling alleys, things like that. But even they're limited on what they can do. But other states I know are increasing. I mean, I just saw where Disney World's increasing capacity again on rides and things like that. So it's getting better depending on who runs your state. And
Florida's numbers are looking great. They've been going down. They're doing far better than we are, and they haven't even come close to what our lockdowns were.
Right.
So,
well, I think it all boils down to the fact that we need to have, they poo-pooed the term herd immunity, which they're now using again, but they're trying to use it tied into the vaccine.
Did you see they actually redefined? The people have done screenshots of the CDC. The CDC actually went in and changed their definition of herd immunities.
Of course, it's the new dialogue.
Yep. They altered it to mean a whole new definition, which is the danger of us going to a digital world and not using actual paper dictionaries anymore. Because with a push of a button, they can change definitions and just say, "Oh yeah, this is what the word means. Don't worry about it."
Yeah.
Now herd immunity can only be achieved through forced vaccinations. So,
and that's what they're saying, and they're starting to come out with wanting the rules. If you want to do anything, you'll have to have your vaccine. So,
on the plus side, I don't think they will have to require vaccination cards or anything like that, like a lot of people are fearing, because you'll just have to look for the people with the third head growing on their shoulder. You'll know who got the vaccine.
Well, and I'm starting to hear some interesting things about these vaccines right now. So it's I'm at a way I do everything I can to stay healthy naturally and not through chemical means. So
exactly. Cheers.
Yep. So, but hey, I guess let's just talk a little, get that out the way.
Yeah.
You did not see it. I did. I had actually gotten a ticket to go see it on Christmas night. But by the time dinner was done, I was tired. It had been snowing and crappy out. And I just said, I don't even feel like messing with it. So I didn't even go. So I watched it. I have HBO Max, so I watched it on that.
I feel like Wonder Woman, based on, I was so excited for this movie.
Oh, so was I.
And I just feel like Wonder Woman 1984 should have been called Wonder Woman 2020, because between the expectations of it coming out and what it produced, I think it should have been 2020.
The hardest part about this movie was I loved the first one. Scott and I talked last night, and I think we both agree on this. The reason the first one was so good, and we've talked this on the air, I know we agree on it because we talked about it on the air before, is because DC, Warner Brothers, left them alone. They left Patty Jenkins alone to make this movie because they didn't care about Wonder Woman. They said they felt the same thing other people did, and some people blame Marvel for it, but Marvel waited to do it right by having a female member, lead films. But they were like, oh, nobody cares about female-led superhero films. Well, that's a lie. It has been for led, and all of us that love these good movies love a good movie with a female lead. The ones we don't like,
we love good superhero movies.
Yes,
we don't care if it's male or female. That's why, like Catwoman with Halle Berry, no one cares about that one, but not because it's Halle Berry. People loved Halle Berry as Storm. It's or Halle. I'm saying Holly.
It's
Halle Hallie.
Well, Catwoman was a crappy movie. I've seen like 5 minutes of it. It wasn't worth it. It wasn't based on anything from that. They just took the name Catwoman, created something new with it, and it wasn't good. I remember when it came out, John and I were talking, and his sister was like, well, you guys are going to go see it. It's a superhero movie. We're like, no, it looks like crap, and it doesn't fit anything to do with Batman, Catwoman, or anything like that. So, and she's like, but you guys like superhero movies. Just because you like a genre doesn't mean you have to support it. That's the other thing I get tired of people is that I saw a couple people, but they've stopped it now, that said, well, if you don't like this movie, you're not a real fan. And the thing is, those people that say that are not real fans.
Like I like hamburgers, but if you put a giant turd on my burger, I'm not going to want it. But you like hamburgers. Yeah, but there's a turd on it.
Yeah. The thing is that you can't, if you're a true fan, and then I'll get back into Wonder Woman, of anything, you expect certain things from it. Yeah. And when they divulge from that and take away from it and try to basically, like you said, put a turd on it, you're not going to enjoy it. And those that actually say, but it's still this, and I love it. I got into it with somebody online one time, I had to delete it and block them about the Turtles movies. They were crappy movies from Michael Bay. He goes, well, you're not a real Turtles fan. I said, yeah, I am. I read the original comics. I remember the original cartoon. I liked it. I've liked most iterations through that. Because I am a fan, I will criticize the crap that gets put out there.
Well, even the Michael Bay, that's a great example. I mean, it was actually fan backlash that got him to change it, because originally they weren't even going to be turtles. He wanted to make them aliens. Yeah. And it's like, wait a minute. It's in the title, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle.
Yeah. Well, they were just going to turtle-esque look because it would be these aliens. I was like, no, quit changing the premise of it. Yeah. And stuff like that. And that's where, and the problem with this movie was, with Wonder Woman 84 is, I don't know where the blame lies. There's 3 writers on it, and one is Patty Jenkins, the other one's Jeff Johns, and then there's another gentleman we talked about that. He wrote like Zombieland Double Tap. He's done some other movies I liked. I was like, okay, where does the fault lie in? Is it really in the writers, or is it in executive producers that are behind the scenes
because ultimately the writer works for the studio. Correct. So no matter how good the writer is, if the studio, and we've talked about this in the past, like with talking about the giant spiders, for they get something in their mind, and if they're the ones paying for the film, they have final say. Yeah. And the writers are ultimately going to do the best they can with, if you're like, hey, I have this wonderfully crappy idea, can you write it? It's still going to be a crappy idea. They might do a better job at presenting the idea, but it's still a crappy idea. And that's what I feel. Warner Brothers didn't care about Wonder Woman, so Patty Jenkins got to make the movie she wanted. Then, because they were focused on ruining Justice League, which is now coming out as a reboot.
Recut, the Snyder Cut. And that should be out in January.
It didn't exist. Now it exists. Plus, they funded to film more, whatever. Yeah. But so the Snyder Cut's coming out to fix what the studio did while Patty Jenkins was making a wonderful Wonder Woman movie. Mm-hmm. But then the studio got involved in like the last 20 minutes of the movie, so it would tie it into Justice League, and that part was the worst part of the movie. Yep. Now I feel like Wonder Woman did so well, the studio's like, well, we better step in and make sure you make this movie right. That's what I think happened.
Actually, what I thought more is they look at it and go, oh, well, she made $800 million without us really having any input. We're going to give full input, and she's going to hit $1 billion. And that's where they got screwed up.
Here's where they lucked out, where COVID benefited DC huge. Mm-hmm. Because had this hit the market when everything was strong, it would have been compared head to head with Black Widow. We still haven't seen Black Widow, so we don't know how that's going to be. But Marvel has a good track record with making their fans happy. Yep. And that would have been a disaster if Black Widow ended up outperforming Wonder Woman.
Well, and I think overall it's going to. I mean, they're looking at the streaming, but right now I'm seeing it launched on Friday, Christmas Day. I mean, people saw it early, were right away talking about it, so I had to avoid social media.
Oh, my feed blew up with the best reviews I saw were very mediocre.
Yeah, and a couple people I saw that loved it extremely. Really, they didn't love the movie. They loved the fact they got to see Wonder Woman on live action again.
And the other thing to keep in mind, our pools of friends online, we're tied into geekdom. The Comic-Con crowd, the comic book fans, the cosplayers, we are networked with those who are the core base of who this movie would be directed to. So these comments we're seeing aren't general public. These are the hardcore fans who will go see the movie 10 times if they like it.
Yeah. And the thing too that got me was I had a lot of female people on my Facebook that really were like telling how disappointed they were in the whole film. The basic premise of the film is you have a TV guy, pitch guy from the 80s, played by Pedro Pascal, who I really like. Pedro, I think I'm gonna like him more and more. I'm seeing him outside of The Mandalorian on a few things recently, and I think he's good actor all around.
Well, even in Game of Thrones, he was great, and that's where most of us were introduced to him. He was wonderful in there.
Yep, and but he's playing this pitchman who has this like oil company that isn't making any money because they have any oil. So, so he learns of this wishing rock. Basically, the whole thing is if you know the story of the monkey paw, and basically it's the same thing as with dealing with genies, things like that. You make a wish, your wish is granted, but there's always consequences, and that's what this whole thing deals around is wishing and consequences and magical ability in that. And you get the initial sequence with Wonder Woman at the beginning is great. There's two. There's the one where she's a child, which was fun, and you get to see Themyscira get a little more detail into that, and then it gets into her stopping a robbery at a mall. And it kind of explained how she was never seen because they showed the newscast after saying, people were saying it was some woman that saved them and she came in, blah, 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 but they had no video proof of it because she took out the few cameras they did have. And of course, the 80s, so cameras weren't everywhere. Nobody had cell phones. So there wasn't like camera phones everywhere. But, and after that, then it sets in this whole motion, the story of what this rock is, how Krista Wiig fits into it, Pedro Pascal, and then how Diana makes her wish and gets basically Steve Trevor back, but he's embodying somebody else's body, which is kind of weird and everything else. And the whole plot of the film really felt like they were trying to build up this love story that she supposedly had with him from the first movie, which they had the infatuation and things like that going on, but they hadn't fully realized their love because he disappeared. But
so I think too, going this route with this wishing stone, I think if they really want to go that way, I think this would have been a great platform for introducing a character like Mxyzptlk.
Yes,
where he uses magic and he can create illusions, do all these things. He's a well-known villain in the comic books, even though he traditionally is against Superman.
Yes,
there's no reason why you couldn't put him in a Wonder Woman movie. It's just like, I don't know. It just didn't seem. It just seems so weird making it a wishing stone. Like I told you, it sounded like a Wishmaster movie, which is probably my single favorite horror movie. I love the Wishmaster series, 1 and 2. Third one, not so much, but first two was awesome. Anyways, side note. But and then I don't want to reveal too many spoilers, but it sounds like the ending here, they didn't even have a creative ending where at least Wishmaster had an awesome creative wish that the character created to undo.
You had a couple good fight scenes.
Did Cheetah? No, I didn't end up seeing it. So did Cheetah look good, or did it look too CGI?
They kept it more shadowed, so it was very CGI because it was she was bouncing all over the place. She didn't really show up as Cheetah till the end. The Krista Wiig character had Diana's powers, and then basically Pedro Pascal with his wish granted her an additional wish to become whatever she wanted, and she became the Cheetah. And and she never wanted to go back because she was a nobody and now she was a somebody, which we've seen that in many other films, so it wasn't anything new there.
They should have had an end credit scene where Pedro Pascal is wishing for a successful TV series since he's on TV, and then he shows up as the Mandalorian.
Yeah. That'd been much better. No, basically it was like the only way to stop the wishing thing is to renounce your wish. His wish was to become the stone. He renounced it.
Which I like the better if he wished to be The Rock and then he becomes Dwayne Johnson, which would have been a perfect twist on how those wish stories. Those are always great tales too. I don't know how Wonder Woman screws this up. Like Twilight Zone, the guy who wished he wanted to be all alone, and he ends up just surrounded by his books, and he was so happy, but then his glasses drop and break, and since there's no other humans around because he wished that, he was now blind and couldn't read all the books that he wished to be around. Those kind of wishes.
That's basically what this was. As more and more people wish, when he put himself in this site where basically the government set up so they could take over every TV in the world if they wanted to and broadcast, and he got everybody wishing, and so he was feeding off that power. Because when you wish something, he took something. That was the other part too.
Yeah.
It's like originally Diana, when she wished for her love to come back, she started losing her powers, and she was able to get wounded and things like that. And then when she renounced it, then she healed and became full powerful again. But it's just a lot of it was just. It's ridiculous, and the story was convoluted. It was
that's what I heard a lot of too.
They realistically, I expected more out of this, and granted, they were going 84. I was like, okay, so we're gonna have some kind of cool thing, but with the amount of world destruction that happened, that was not fixed at the end, because even though he renounced his wish, it didn't go back and fix everything.
Yep.
It still was like, okay, all these people would remember this when it came time for Dawn of Justice. So because all that are in the same universe. This isn't an alternate universe. And so none of it makes any sense now. And it just doesn't fit. And it's ridiculous. And I as much as I like the first Wonder Woman, I will never have to see this one again because it wasn't worth seeing again. So yeah, Doug Keeper, it was slapped together. It felt like what they were trying to do was throw something in there that this looks cool, that was cool. And there's some good sequences, but if I could do an edit on it, the whole movie would be 45 minutes because all you need is just the action stuff.
I think the real story here that's being missed, though, and we talked off air about this, the real story is how ineffective and underwhelming Jeff Johns has been to the DC cinematic universe.
Yep. When he came in, I thought he was going to be the savior of these movies.
Yeah, when he came in, we thought it was going to be amazing. But you look at the track record since he's been in there, and I don't know, is he actually in there? Does he have any power? Is he there in name only?
The only thing I can really see, I feel like he's had a hand in, has been the Stargirl series, which came out earlier this year, which I enjoyed. Wasn't great. It fit into what they're doing on the CW, kind of moving away from the Arrowverse to something different. Yeah. But you look at what he's done so far in the movie-wise, he hasn't really done anything.
Yeah, he had no effect. When I look at DC as a whole, okay, where is DC awesome? Their video games are awesome. Mm-hmm. Why? Because the studio doesn't put their hand in it. They don't touch it. The Arrowverse was awesome when it started. I don't think the studios cared about it.
No.
But then it took off. Then they started tinkering and overblowing.
Well, I guarantee you that when Arrowverse started, when Arrow started and all them, they didn't care about anything TV because they had said that. And it goes back to prior to Man of Steel coming out. They canceled all of the DC cartoons, and the reason being they said, well, we don't want the competition from TV for the movies.
Yes.
We want people to go see those guys in the movies, so we're canceling all now, not realizing that that stuff leads to it.
The Suicide Squad, that was a strong storyline going on in the Arrowverse, and they chopped it off because nope, we're gonna do a Suicide Squad movie. We don't want competition, so they didn't care about the TV side. No. Then they started to, I think, and that's when I think it blew up. Then the animation movies, Doug is mentioned. Yes, I love DC animation movies. Look at the actual live action movies. They didn't care about Wonder Woman. The proof was in the advertising. There was nothing. Brett and I talked about it back when it came out. Yep. They didn't care about it. So it became awesome. They accidentally made a Marvel movie, and it was well received. The other movie I don't think they cared about was Shazam.
Yep.
Shazam was awesome. Once again, Shazam fits more in the Marvel universe than it does DC, I think. So that's another one and I think what's happening too is they're getting lazy with like Shazam. That's bringing magic into their universe. And I think what they're doing is they're just going to now use magic to explain everything. I think that's where they're getting the wishing stone, and it's easier than actually trying to have a thoughtful.
Yeah, and that's where there's the two things that these movies can do wrong is one is doing magic, and two is dealing with time travel. Time travel has been overdone. That's where I think the Flash lost everybody on the TV show, is they over time traveled, over redid things.
Marvel, for instance, Marvel handles magic right. I think they just explain that it's science that we don't understand.
Well, and the magic they've had has been very limited. It's been, through Doctor Strange. We've had it, but it fits the way they've done it. The other thing is, even with
Thor and Loki too,
time travel and stuff like that, they've been very careful within that how they've done things and dealing with the Avengers movie. We do know that pretty much a lot of all these limited series coming out, I think, except for I haven't seen anything on Falcon and Winter Soldier, whether they're going to have anything time travel wise, but we know it looks like, the WandaVision is going to be basically a time travel-esque. Loki definitely is.
But all this time travel, I think, is interconnected with a very specific time travel event, which we see in the movies. Especially Loki. We know Loki is directly linked to that. So that'll be very fun. Unintentionally, I think this is going to turn into a Pedro Pascal show because we've got him in Wonder Woman. He was also in, of course, The Mandalorian, which there was the Disney Gallery for season 2, which we'll talk about. And then he's also with Robert Rodriguez, which is handling the upcoming Boba Fett series and did the episode in The Mandalorian, who came out with We Can Be Heroes on Netflix, which Pedro Pascal is in as well.
Yes, I watched that. I enjoyed it. It's definitely very kidified. The ending I wasn't as crazy about, but I definitely liked the premise behind it. I like his movie. It's a direct sequel to Shark Boy and Lava Girl. And here's you can see a picture of it from on the Netflix or their site. That's the main cast is the kids. The adults, Pedro Pascal. I forget her name that played the original Lava Girl is back. It's a different Shark Boy.
I think her real name is Lava Girl.
Probably.
That's how everyone knows her.
Yeah. But she's done a few other things here and there. So
but she's Lava.
Yaya Gosselin is the main girl here. Priyanka Chopra is one of the main adults. That's also, her name is not Priyanka Chopra Jonas. She's married to one of the Jonas brothers. And then of course Pedro Pascal. But Robert Rodriguez,
Christian Laettner.
That's a basketball player, dude.
How did his name pop in my head?
I don't know.
See, that's from my old U of M days because they were our arch rivals.
Right.
I was there during the Fab 5 years, and Christian Laettner was the.
He was a great ball player.
What am I trying to say? He was in Mr. Robot. Everyone knows him. Christian
Slater.
Slater. Thank you. I don't know how.
Yeah, I was. And the thing is, when you look at the people that were in it,
there were some big.
A lot of people that he's worked with before in different things. This was made through his new Double R Productions, which it stands for Robert, and I believe it's Rocket. That's his son that actually did the music for the movie. And the original thought for Shark Girl or Shark Boy and Lava Girl was from his son back then when it came out. So it's a kind of a family affair on that. I think it's really cool. He's brought his family in to work on it. He's always had his family involved in different parts. His sister was in Desperado as a side character. She's an actress and she flew in from New York to do that and stuff. So and the thing is, he does these on a green screen studio. I'm pretty sure he shot this whole thing at his studio in Austin. And a lot of it's green screen. They had some outdoor scenes and things like that. But like his Spy Kids movies, the Shark Boy, Lava Girl, this kind of all ties in, kind of blended universe he has. Heck, he's even tied in the Machete movies because Machete was actually in Spy Kids prior to him becoming Machete through the trailer of Grindhouse. So, so that's kind of an interesting thing there. So,
as far as a review of We Can Be Heroes, if you've got kids under 10, they're gonna love it. It's a fun show. I think the ending was weak. I actually think the way they ended actually undermines what the kids accomplished in the show itself. I won't reveal what the ending is, but I do like it overall. But definitely, if I was a 6-year-old, 8-year-old, I would have absolutely loved this movie.
Yeah. I would too at that age. I mean, I really liked it as for what it was, and I like my favorite character is the little girl here on the bottom.
Yeah,
right here. She's my favorite. She's just hilarious.
Yep.
She was funny through the whole thing. She's definitely a good little actress, and that. So.
It also shows the ability of Robert Rodriguez. He's working with a cast of children, and the way he's able to direct and put these scenes together. He really maximized. I mean, like this little girl here with the water in the lower right corner. She's not an action star. It's not like she's high skill, but you know what? They made the fight scenes look fun and exciting. Obviously it's not the same as what he did in The Mandalorian with Boba Fett kicking butt, but it just shows how good he is at creating action sequences.
Well, and he also brought in the little girl, but the other preteen girl right here. I'm circling with my mouse here. That is Ernie Reyes Jr.'s daughter.
Yeah.
And she is named Lotus Blossom. That's the name she goes by as an actress. And she's, of course, trained in martial arts. I mean, you get to see her besides singing. She does some martial arts. So you can tell that I believe Ernie Reyes helped do some of the choreography on that, too.
Do you see Kevin's comment there? So he always has the same guy play a doctor in his movies. It's his dentist.
Well, you know, he always takes local talents. If you ever want to read an interesting read his Rebel Without a Crew. It's his diary book on how he did El Mariachi. And I believe that gives full insight to his filmmaking even to today. Plus, you can go back and watch some of the other DVDs he did over the years where he did his 10-minute film schools and talks about how he makes movies. He's always been encouraging of independent creators and filmmakers. He's done comic books back in the day too when he was in college and stuff like that. So he's always been one of my favorites to kind of follow along in stuff he does, because of the fact that the stuff that we do through Bardstone is the stuff he does through his filmmaking and has done in comics and encourages other people to get out and do.
Yeah, so if you're watching this, Robert, and you want to turn any of our Bardstone properties into a film, let us know.
I think, actually, I really think Wretched Realms, he could take that and do a fantastic Western.
Oh, yeah.
Especially after seeing what he's done with the Mandalorian, as well as now he's going to executive produce the book of Boba.
Yep, the book of Boba Fett.
Yes, I'm really excited about that. But yeah, so it's gonna be really good.
Also get a glimpse of how he is on set in the Disney Gallery.
Yeah, I did finish watching that last night, and I really liked that. I agree with you, though, Scott. We were talking last night. He said he wished it had been longer, more episodes. I could have used more insight. I mean, I just love everything they talked about. They kind of go through. They give about 7-8 minutes per episode just to kind of cover everything, and it was good. I like that. They did spend a lot of time with Bryce Dallas Howard, so I am speculating she's going to be more involved in the future than we know.
My prediction is we are going to get Solo 2. Ron Howard will work on it with Dallas, and that will kind of be her mentorship into the Star Wars universe. And then after that, she'll get a project on her solo project of her own, and then she'll have. I predict she will be getting a trilogy down the road.
I can see that. I like what she did. The 2 episodes she's done in each of this, one in each season, are just fantastic. She's definitely coming from her actor's point of view and her father and everything else she's got around her, the legacy she has.
And she's a lifelong Star Wars fan.
Yes.
But she has an extra little neat backstory in that Ron Howard was connected with George Lucas very early on. He worked on Willow. And
actually, he goes back. Ron Howard is, of course, from American Graffiti.
Yeah, so he even goes farther back. But Dallas was brought as a child to these meetings, so she remembers George Lucas in these meetings. She'd be sitting there as a little child.
Oh yeah, well she was brought in. She was born in 1981, and so she was involved because he was bringing her around the time they were doing Jedi, because that's when they started talking about Willow and things like that. So it's definitely she's got got it bred into her almost. It's just the way it goes. So in that, but I definitely I expect to see more of her involvement. If not, like I said, if she doesn't get a trilogy, she's going to be involved heavily in the Disney Plus side with probably helming her own series. I wouldn't be surprised if she doesn't end up getting, if not a trilogy of movies, she ends up helming a series on her own, because she can definitely do that. But another one I want to talk about though real quick was a director in that. What I like from that thing was Rick Fumiyawa. He's done a couple different ones, but he's directed both of the Bill Burr episodes.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and they talked really heavily about him, and I liked how they talked about his style was just kind of, he's just there and he's just kind of casual, like, yeah, do this. Oh yeah, great, all right, move on. But
he's another one. I've fully enjoyed his episode, so I would love to see him get a movie. I really think the Mandalorian is being their testing ground now. They experienced what happened when they just allowed directors to do whatever they want. So now they can bring a director in, under the controlled environment of the Mandalorian with the oversight of Favreau and Filoni. And if they get the blessing from them, then they can move on to the movies. I like this process. I hope they keep it up.
Yeah, I think this is the best way to go to continue having good stories told as we're starting to see more and more Star Wars stuff eventually come out here. And I don't, think that kind of diving a little bit back to Patty Jenkins, I don't believe how Wonder Woman 84 is being received will affect her directing Rogue Squadron.
I agree.
I think it's going to they're going to go back and say, look, we know what you can do. Yes. We don't care what happened there. Let's get you going here.
I've seen a number of posts of people saying they are now concerned about Rogue Squadron. I'm not. Patty Jenkins proved what she could do in the first Wonder Woman without supervision. So I really, I doubt she went from making such a great movie to such a horrible movie without. I think this was studio involvement that overrode her ideas. Yeah. It's just a theory on my part, but I'm still looking forward to Rogue Squadron. And plus, I don't think she'll be working in a vacuum. I think she'll have Filoni and Favreau as some level of support or oversight, and I trust everything they're doing right now.
Yes. And you can see that if you watch this Star Wars Galaxy or Gallery episode, you could see that, Favreau was on set for every episode. He didn't direct them all. He didn't write that one episode though. He allowed Rick to write it. It was John was is credited at it, but really it was Rick Fumiyawa who wrote the episode, based on the guidance of what they needed to get to the last episode for the season. But it's everything they're doing is there, and even Favreau talks about it. He wants to be hands on. He wants to be there.
Well, and then with Filoni, like Filoni says in a comment about how. About reproducing the Jabba's throne room and how accurate they wanted to make it, not just for the sake of being accurate, but to honor the legacy of those who worked at Lucasfilm in the past, who made this what it was. Yeah. They really care. Filoni cares about the history of the franchise, the storyline of the franchise, the fans of the franchise, but he also cares about the legacy that was created behind the scenes, the culture. And even to the point where you see the microphone guy wearing the pink shorts. Did you see that?
Yeah.
So I have now he passed away earlier this year.
Yep.
So I wonder if is that guy always wearing pink shorts now, whoever has the microphone, or was that a tribute to that guy when he passed away?
I think it was just a tribute. It seemed to me like they did it as like a one-off.
Right.
They did it in the Jabba throne room to make it okay. This is like from the original from back then, right. So it fits it more than just now. So that was just the tribute.
But it was a nice thing to see, where it's like that kind of thing shows people like Filoni get it. Even like to the point where Tamara Morrison is Boba Fett and he's holding the gun, and Filoni's like, put the stock under the arm. That's how, he like the tiny details is like, that's Boba Fett. Yeah. You know what I mean? Just even how to hold the gun. He was getting those details right. And we as fans notice those things.
Yes.
Just because we're sick people with everything about Star Wars. We can't.
Well, as much as we watch it and everything else, we get into it. It's just a big thing.
There's body language that all of us, if you see someone at a distance who you know really well, you know who it is from their body language, their walk, and their movements. And it's the same with Boba Fett. He has a certain movement to him. So,
and they wanted to make some adjustments because of the fact that they, saying this is coming from post Jedi, so post his injuries and stuff like that. So there's slight adjustments there, but there's certain things you wouldn't do. He would still hold the gun the same way, certain movements, stuff like that. But I did like they talked about his fighting style, and this is where Robert Reeves played heavy in this episode, and they incorporated some of his Maori fighting style into it. The whole gaffy stick thing was him. Tomorrow Morrison, I want the gaffy stick, and they had to make it a longer length than the traditional one.
Well, and with Robert Rodriguez, I liked his quote. He said, "If the Mandalorian is a gunslinger, then Boba needs to be a barbarian."
Yes, that was the best way to put that because it was perfect on that. But yeah, I like Doug King says here he had that sweater back in the 80s. Yeah, that was and it was funny because you see them dressing them. They talked about during that time, and she said she was going vintage for clothing, and so yeah, he went vintage J.C. Penney 1983.
My only thing about that is, so you're living on a water planet with all this high tech stuff, and you're gonna choose a wool sweater to wear as a fish person. I would think wool would like really not be good to wear on a water planet.
I don't know. You're from New England, and they wear a lot of like wool sweaters and stuff like that around.
I guess I just think of it getting cold, wet, and heavy.
Yeah, I would think that too. So I did get something cool since we're on Star Wars. I wasn't expecting this till next week, but when the Mandalorians, I decided to go for this from Amazon. I got the speeder bike.
Oh,
so
I wanted that.
So there's Grogu.
Grogu.
So and it showed up last week. I was surprised.
This is one I got for Christmas here.
Oh, nice.
That came out good. I also got a TIE pilot and the AT-AT pilot.
Oh, very cool.
AT-AT driver, I should say.
Was that the carded one?
Yes, those ones were carded. This one was boxed. I take all mine out. I don't save them in pristine.
I just haven't taken mine out because I haven't had a place to put them yet. Once I figure out, I'm definitely taking out this speeder bike and setting him up. I think this is cool. And
there's mine on my got him up on my little windowsill there.
Oh yeah, very cool. Yeah, I've got like my Ahsoka I've showed before, and a couple others. Got my Mandalorian I got to get up. I'm waiting on a couple more things to show up eventually here as they get released. So, but yeah, definitely check out the gallery. This season 2 making of. I'd love to see him do another one to look at it. But it's definitely for an hour long. It went by way too fast, and they could have told me they could have spent more time with it. And,
right.
In that. So, and then Doug's got the Funko Mando and Grogu. Yep, I've seen those. Those are pretty cool too.
Nice.
So what else? I know we had a list of stuff here, and I'm losing track of where we're at.
Well, I think we covered the pop culture stuff. How about let's do a year in review of 2020. We had a lot of celebrity deaths, like Sean Connery was a notable one. But I don't know what. Let's see what highlights there were. As far as movies go, think about that. What was the movie of the year for 2020? So many of them never happened because everything got delayed. And
yeah, I think it's funny.
Skywalker may still be the best movie of the year because it came out at the end of last year.
Well, and that could be
2020. What's the movie result? Movie box office. Let's see what the top grossing movie was. It's going to be a weird year because so many movies had zero,
Right. Or they did very well on the streaming platforms and stuff like that. So
let's see. 2020 worldwide box office. Wow, this is interesting. It's an interesting list because, like we said, the time where the big blockbusters come out didn't happen. So the number one movie in the world is a movie called The 800. I don't know anything about that one.
Well, I think that was a foreign release.
That was foreign. Yep.
Yeah, that was
something.
Oh, it's set 1937. It's a Chinese film. That's probably why it did so well.
Yep. But here's the number 2 movie of the year, Bad Boys for Life.
Yep. Well, that came out early and did very well right up till the end of the start of the pandemic. So
the number 3 movie of the year, Tenet, which is interesting because this is a post-COVID movie.
Yep. They got a long release though between domestic and international.
But it only brought in 57 million domestic.
It was all overseas.
Yeah. So number 3 is Tenet. Number 4, it's Sonic the Hedgehog. I forgot about that one coming out this year.
Yeah,
a lot of these are movies that you would not normally see in the top 10.
I believe Sonic came out in February.
Yeah,
and so it did very well, 146 million. And then Jumanji, the next level for domestic wise, is after that, at 124.7 million. And Star Wars is right behind it, but only down by 0.2. But both of those were carryovers from December.
Right. Okay. So Jumanji did. I don't even see Jumanji on this list. Where is Jumanji?
I'm at boxofficemojo.com, and it shows top
No,
2020 movies for and that's domestic. The worldwide though, after Sonic is Doolittle.
Yeah, that's what I got the worldwide sort. Where is Jumanji on the worldwide number? I'm not even seeing it.
Let's see here. I haven't pulled up. I just got the top 5, so it's not in the top 5 worldwide.
Yeah.
Let me pull up their.
I should be able to click domestic and have it resort. There we go.
So here we go. Within the worldwide though, after Doolittle,
why is Jumanji not even on this? It's not on my Mojo list. What's going on here?
It is on the domestic side.
Interesting
for this year. Yeah, I don't see it on here.
Or did Jumanji technically come out? Did that come out last year? I think that came out last year.
So this right here is just movies released this year, probably.
The one I'm looking at, because Jumanji, I think technically came out in 2019.
Correct. Okay. And that was a carryover. And that's what I'm seeing here is everything was released in this year and not part of the carryover box office that they because like even they show like some re-releases when you get way down there and things like that. So I'm surprised that they don't have that it still didn't carry over that they're listing that. But
let's see, Birds of Prey number 7, and no one even liked that one. Invisible Man number 8, Onward number 9, Call of the Wild number 10.
And Onward came out just a couple weeks before they shut everything down here in the United States. So with it getting 141 million worldwide, it was 80 million of that was foreign versus domestic, which is 61. That 61 was pretty much the initial weekend release.
Now this is interesting. Number 12 though, Wonder Woman is already number 12 for the year. Just after 1 week. We'll see a huge drop off based on how everybody's responding, though. The week 2 totals of this is going to be disaster.
Yeah, 68 million on the international market versus 16 here. But then you got Mulan after that did 60 on the international, but they launched that at the same time international they did on the Disney Plus platform, and now you can watch it for free on Disney Plus.
Yeah, well, they have 0 for domestic, so it wasn't even released domestic.
Yeah, it never got released here at all. So
because of the shutdowns.
Yeah. Then you go down to number 19 though is the New Mutants, which did get released here. It did almost 24 million here and it did almost 23 overseas. And they came out here in the midst of all the stuff back in the summer.
So just to show what a crazy year it is, that this is the number 19 movie worldwide, 46 million. That would be considered a failure for opening weekend totals alone in most cases. But this is now the number 19 in the world.
Yeah.
Wow. Just shows.
But just looking at the domestic here in the United States, we've gone through all these. Doolittle was 7, Birds of Prey 6, The Invisible Man 9, Call of the Wild. That was the Harrison Ford one was 10.
That was the Solo part 2 when Han Solo came off the drugs and realized Chewie was just a dog.
Correct. And then, like I said, Onward was 11. So Knives Out actually brought in Frozen 2, going to carry over from the previous year. Tenet, and then Spies in Sky. So we had a couple of the carryovers and then some that did launch this year.
I don't understand why some are carryover. Like they don't have Rise of Skywalker. They don't have Jumanji.
Well, they do it on the domestic side, but for some reason the international side, they're not showing it as carryover. So.
Here's the okay. I found the domestic tab. I can now look at the one you're looking at. Let's see here.
Yeah.
So there we go. So you there's the domestic top 10 gross. Is that what you clicked on?
I just clicked down below. It had a thing that said, here, I'll share my screen.
Okay. Oh yeah, we should do that so people know what we're even talking about. I kind of forgot we were on the air.
Yeah.
It's like we're just doing our own conversation here.
That's usually how it goes. So here it is. So here's the screen I've got right here. Box Office Mojo by MD Pro. Domestic box office for 2020.
There we go. So where did Rise of Skywalker fall? There it is. Oh, 5. Okay.
Yeah. And think about it. It did 124 million, almost 125 million from January 1st through whenever they shut everything down. Because it was still in theaters through the end of February.
Right. So so the big opening couple weeks is not included on that.
Yep. And then Jumanji: The Next Level, actually, it was picking up steam after the first of the year.
Yep. And Jumanji was another great one. I really, those are my 2 favorite movies that I saw this year. Those 2.
Yep.
And Bad Boys for Life I enjoyed. What else?
Bad Boys for Life was fun. I liked 1917. There's not very many World War One movies. It was good.
It looked
Sonic
good.
was surprisingly good. They're actually working on another one. They're going to introduce more of the Sonic characters into it. And then I'm actually looking forward, speaking of The Rock from Jumanji, I'm actually looking forward to his Jungle Cruise movie.
Yeah.
Out in July. So
now, let's see.
You see there's a whole bunch of them going back.
Crude's A New Age is on that list. So
the Crude's one though is still out in theaters, but it's now available to buy as a digital release for rent and purchase now. And then I believe it's going to be coming to one of the streaming ones eventually here soon.
Douglas is saying he heard Tenet was fantastic. I've heard mixed. Yeah. I've heard the story is too. It's kind of like Inception. There's too many layers within layers within layers, is what I've heard. But so I've heard people absolutely love it, and I've heard people who is like, I don't know what I saw. So I've heard those two reviews.
Right. I haven't seen it yet, but to be honest with you, I wasn't thrilled with it when I saw the original trailer, so I wasn't really worried about seeing it anyway. So but so there's a lot of interesting things. And a lot of these movies they got released very limited and then came right back into the home stuff. Right now, I mean, Warner Brothers is saying they're going to release all their films simultaneously in the theaters and on HBO Max this year, which a lot of the theater companies are very upset about, which is understand. You know, I personally would rather go to the movies and see a lot of these stuff initially. And then, and if I have a chance to come back home and watch it again, that's a different take. But definitely, I would suggest people try to go to the theater as much as possible but at the same time, we're seeing so much changes and people are subscribing more. But how much will that change? I think over the next 2 years, as the COVID goes away in terms of how we handle things, the shutdowns go away, people start going back to somehow they used to. We're going to see some return to different activities like that.
I really hope the theaters need to evolve. I love going to the theater, but the reality is the current path things are on, I think they're going to atrophy and go away. So they're going to have to get creative. I hope we see the evolution of theaters to be that they have digital projectors. They can stream content and hook up with when Game of Thrones was hot. Mm-hmm. I would have gladly have done a weekly thing to watch it as a group with fellow fans and see it on the big screen. And Mandalorian, I would absolutely pay to see that weekly on the big screen. So I hope the theaters can come up with a business model that allows them to stream content for all of us.
Well, and my suggestion would be something like with the Mandalorian, stuff like that, is you do a Thursday night screening of it before it hits the streaming service. Yep. So you got people that go in and see this stuff and then come out and can say, it was great, go see it, watch it, stream it, whatever.
You could sell it as a season pass and you do it. Actually, like the slowest nights for movie theaters are like Tuesday or something. Do a Tuesday night premiere night. So you fill the theater on an empty night with all the hardcore fans. We're buying your concessions. We're enjoying your films. Buy it as a season pass where I buy all 10 episodes at once. And I just show up every week with, to see it.
Yep.
I would totally do that for shows like and you look at Star Wars, they got Mandalorian, you got Obi-Wan Kenobi, you got 10, the Book of Boba Fett. That's a lot of potential income if I'm buying those passes for every single series.
Oh yeah.
Then you get into the Marvel side. I'd gladly go see Loki on the big screen or any of those. So, they got to evolve it to somehow connect to these streaming services where we pay. So, because there's so much more enjoyment watching these things in the midst of your fellow fans.
Yes. Well, how long did you spend watching the reaction videos to Luke Skywalker at the end of the
40-minute watch? I watched 40 minutes worth of reaction videos just because it was so awesome seeing Luke Skywalker come back. And then watching these reaction videos, I was reliving my reaction. I mean, I was standing up like 2 feet away from my screen because I wanted to see every detail. That's how I was. I'm like, oh my, I was watching it. I see the X-Wing come and the reaction was the same over and over again. And it was like reliving that almost like a group feeling, like seeing these other people experience it the way I did. that's how it is in the theater. It's so nice when a funny moment happens. You hear everyone laugh, or the energy of, if that happened on the big screen, Luke Skywalker appearing, it would have burst out in applause and cheering.
Oh, I mean, people were just seeing the reaction videos. People were cheering as they were going on.
Yeah.
I did see though, there's one YouTuber who's best known, and he had to come out and there was a Lucasfilm artist or someone that works for Lucasfilm that actually trashed the emotions of these people. He had to come out and apologize later on. But he used that one guy's specific feed about that. It's like obviously, okay, you work, and I'm glad for you. You get to work on some Star Wars stuff, but you obviously don't care about Star Wars, because those true fans do. And the look on everybody's face was the same thing. It was
actually, I was shocked that he responded the way he did, because he is such a key person, and he's one of the keepers of knowledge. Like he knows everything about Star Wars, that guy. So I was stunned when I heard that response, because he knows how the fans are. He's one of them. He knows every minutia of detail. So I didn't understand that response. But
yeah, he tried to say it meant something else, but I think that was just him trying to backtrack a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know what it was.
I can tell you this: it's everything the Mandalorian's done has really brought back the fandom together. It's been very difficult this year not having the conventions, because we haven't really had a convention other than Great Lakes for us.
We're going on to a year. I mean, February, like 12th or something.
So we didn't have the build up to the conventions to the new Mandalorian season. We didn't have a whole season of talking about the season with other people at different shows around the country and seeing what people do creative wise around that. So we start getting shows back later this next year. I'm excited to see that. Excited to see the fervor building up to the Book of Boba, and then after that will be the Mandalorian season 3, and I speculate it's going to be released pretty much right away after the Book of Boba Fett. The way they're going, they'll be going back to back series. A lot of this stuff.
At the way we're going, though, maybe by the time they reopen, we'll have a Bardstone streaming service. We'll have the Bardstone universe.
There we go
for everyone to enjoy.
Well, and that includes the shirt I'm wearing.
Oh, hey, new shirt.
Yeah.
So next week, we're going to explore the upcoming 2021 movie year. What movies are scheduled to come out? What's the landscape of movie theaters going to be? What are, with things going to HBO Max and other things, what are those? So we're gonna tackle all of that stuff next week. We finally have a week of no Mandalorian, unfortunately.
Yeah, not a whole lot of new stuff. We got, actually, I don't know if you're caught up, but we got Cobra Kai season 3 dropping on Friday.
Coming out, and then when does the Marvel stuff start? In January, right?
Starts in January, I think mid-January. Yes.
All right, so we'll have that.
Those dates next week for you too, and then discuss all that fun stuff. I'll give our speculations, and we'll give some updates on Bardstone.
Yep, and we'll dig out a wishing stone so we can figure out what we're going to do for 2021.
Sounds good. Hey, we'll see you all next week.
Happy New Year.